What's up, guys? Thanks for tuning in. I know you guys saw the thumbnail. We're going to be talking about how I was able to make $200+ today and over 150%. Just using this simple supply and demand strategy and just really ultimately practicing patience. You feel me? So I want to start off by saying yesterday we had a great day, coming off a great day yesterday. You feel me? Yesterday was another good day, over $300, 140% play to close the day off with. Today, coming off of that, after that setup, because we went short with that setup, we said I'm expecting a push down to 433 before we start to see a bounce. Higher risk trades in this area being so far away from key support or supply, but it's possible to still scalp puts to the downside. So really, I figured we were going down since we were in the middle of the range, but I didn't take any trades that opened because, again, we opened up today. Let's go back to where we opened. 9:30. We opened up in the middle of this range, right? So if I'm using this structure to trade that I have been using, this little, between these two white lines, we opened up in the middle of this structure. Yesterday, we were able to make that great play because we sold at the top, and now we opened up in the middle of the structure. So today, we could have just bought puts at open, but I was looking to be patient and wait for price to fall into the bottom of this structure and fall into demand here before we went and took that bounce. So that's what we were talking about yesterday in Discord. This is 433 to 431-ish area for a bounce. That's what we were looking for yesterday in Discord. I point this out because this is all planned, right, guys? This is the plan we went into before the day started, you feel me? This is what we were looking for. So that's the reason why this execution turned out the way it turned out, was because we practiced patience. We didn't have to think about anything. Everything was already planned. You feel me? So the rationale going into this, we've been selling off crazy. If we look past couple of days, clearly in the downtrend. If we go on a 5-minute, clearly in the downtrend, I wouldn't necessarily buy it. If we look at what happened today, lots of selling, I wouldn't necessarily buy it. So let's talk about the reason why I ended up doing that. So we've been selling off crazy, overextended. Only took this because we were coming into demand and noticed the volume at the bottom. So here's our trade setup, guys. Let's see, man. Change charts on me. Here's the trade setup that we took. Here's the entry here. We were selling off all day. Notice the volume at the bottom, selling off all day. The volume is drying up, right? As we're coming into demand, the volume is getting smaller at the bottom. Let's go look at the picture here. The volume at the bottom, as we're coming into demand, we're selling off, volume is going down. Now, if we're going to break this trend line and break through this demand here, we would like to see the selling pressure intensify. We would like to see the volume start ramping up, the selling pressure ramp up, and so we could break through this demand and break through this trend line. But we actually saw the opposite. We saw selling on lower volume, which is causes for a bounce to possibly happen. You feel me? If we're selling off, but it's not a lot of sell pressure, buyers have a great chance of coming in and stepping up to reclaim that. To tie this all in together, one of the biggest things was this bigger picture. Always trust the higher time frame analysis. On the weekly chart, it was another case of low volume coming into the 50 on the weekly, right? So if you guys don't know, moving averages, especially the 200 moving average and the 50 moving average, they act as resistance and they can act as support sometimes. So this is a good indicator I like to use. But the icing on the cake was seeing this 50 MA at demand, right? So if this demand here is acting as an area of demand, an area where buyers will step in, and seeing this 50 line up with that, possibly acting as support, is great to see that confluence there. And that's really was the icing on the cake for this trade. This is really what tied everything together. Without seeing this setup on the bigger picture, I wouldn't have taken the trade on the smaller time frame. So that's just what it was. Again, breaking below the 200 on the daily as well. For us to be down there and close, we'd like to see a strong break below with volume coming in. You feel me? So we were down below the 200 on the daily, but again, it's that higher time frame analysis you want to trust. We're running into support here on the weekly chart. So it's Friday, you feel me? We're running into support. A bounce was possibly due. We went ahead, we took that bounce. Like I said here, always trust the high time frame analysis. The weekly showed us that we were pulling into the 50 again. We were unlikely to break without that high volume. There was a lack of volume here. There was a lack of selling pressure. Although we were selling off crazy, there was a lack of strong selling pressure at support to get us down below these levels. So that's really what we took advantage of today. We went ahead, as far as the actual execution, we went ahead and watched the level 2, sold off. Once we originally came into the 433 area, I didn't buy calls right away because I didn't like the price action. And I decided that I'm going to wait until we test the trend line. Once we came down to the trend line, it started looking really nice on the level 2. Buyers started stepping up. I went ahead and waited for it to reclaim the original entry before I hopped in. You feel me? We hopped in the trade, and pretty much I closed my laptop, went to the gym, set a stop loss alert so that if this trade was really, really going against me, I would see, and walked away. One of the improvements for this trade I can say though is I was initially planning on buying more than one contract. Unfortunately, I only got one contract in. I added a contract here back above 433 once we got out of the demand zone. But as y'all can see, an immediate red candle came in, scared me. You feel me? I didn't plan to add, so emotions came in. I just went ahead and dropped that contract that I added and left the original position and let it run. You feel me? Again, I do want to say this is a counter trend trade. Normally, I don't trade against the trend, but with everything that we saw, all the confluence coming into the 50 MA on the weekly, this demand down here, the bottom of this range, this trend line bounce, all the confluence we saw made this a trade that I was actually willing to take. I bought 0-day to expiration SPY contract, so it was fairly cheap. High risk to reward trade, high probability setup. So that's why we're able to make, so much money from it, 156%. That's the reason. That's how it was possible, because of that 0-day to expiration contract, and it was it moved. I think I want to say $6 or something, $3 in the money or something. So that's how we were able to do that. Again, fairly conservative target, trading against the trend. Fairly conservative target. We went for a 3-to-1. We got it a little bit more than that, even better. You feel me? Great. But you don't want to overstay your welcome when you're trading against a trend like this. You feel me? This could just be acting as a small pullback. Either way, we caught it in a high probability bounce area. Any other day, I wouldn't say to trade against the trend. Here, you could say, oh, this selling pressure was dying out here, getting weak. Let's buy this bounce. I wouldn't recommend that because it wasn't so much confluence. It wasn't a high key area like this area down here. So I hope you guys were able to pick up something from that. You feel me? Study up on supply and demand. Make sure you guys are studying up on supply and demand. Pay attention to that. Pay attention to liquidity and what really makes stocks move. What stocks tend to do before they move in the opposite direction. Pay attention to that, and make sure you guys are always working off of what the highest time frame is giving you guys. So if you guys find any of that helpful, or if you guys need clarification with any of that, make sure you drop that in the comments down below. And thank you guys for watching the video. I'll catch you guys in the next one.